All right, so I wanted to render something with a transparent background. So I'm going to come into this view and I'm going to back out a little bit so we have a little bit more background to work with. Maybe orbit and pan a little so I can, you know, I don't know, get some sky and background in there. All right, so now I've got some background, and you might have more, I don't know, so we'll pull it down a little bit like that. Okay, so I'm going to render this guy, so I'm going to come down to the render dialog, and instead of a few clouds for a background, I'm going to pick transparent. Okay, and I'm going to render it. So if I render that, it's going to go through and render that out, and you'll see that it has a transparent background. So if you look at it, those little checks mean transparent. And now if you export it and you pick a ping, I'm going to go to my desktop and save that as 3D View 1 ping. So I'm going to save that and then close my rendering dialog box. And then I'll go to Photoshop. And now I'm going to open that file in Photoshop. So if I go down and go to my desktop, I have two. I have the 3D View 1 that I did in the last, which doesn't have a transparent background, but I also have 3D View 1 Ping, which does have a transparent background. So now if I open that, this image size is pretty small, right? So 540 by 3. Yeah. I can now open, so if I go to File, Open, and I go to C drive, storage, and just go to my lectures, images, and so I'm going to open up background image, right? And I'm going to resize this real quick to something that will fit better. So let's just make it 600 by 450 and click OK. I'll drag that down, and I'll just pull that layer into this file. Ooh, and I made it way too small, but let's put it down below, and you can see, let's go ahead and stretch that. Transform scale, right? Oh, I guess it's just kind of off the sheet, but you can see you can now you have a cleared background where you can go in and adjust this guy however you want him. Okay. So that's that guy. Ooh, that's super saturated. Really should go in and pull that saturation down. There, it's a little better. All right. Okay, so there's that. Close Photoshop and not save. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was materials a little bit more, and just show you real quick what I will do to adjust my materials when I need to. So if I want to, let's say I wanted to put a concrete on here. So I'm going to go to my object styles and imported objects, and instead of porcelain ivory, I'm going to go get concrete board form, which is going to have a texture on it. And if I go to the appearance, you'll see that that appearance has a pretty rough texture. And it tends to be a little bit too realistic. So what I will do is I will fade that image by 80%. And there's a bump map on here. And you can also turn that bump map down. It's at a 10. I'm just going to take it to like a 2. Okay? And click OK. Oh, well, go to graphics and use render appearance and then click OK. And click OK. And now that is on that particular, and we'll get a little closer, maybe orbit in, maybe zoom out a little bit, right? And now I'm going to render this, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, let's get rid of that guy, and we'll go to render it out. Okay, so there it is. The other thing, I think that the board form is just too small, right? Now we could do a high and it would render, but I think that even if you zoom in, like that's a tiny board, like, and it's just, you can see the tiling in it. So what I will do is I will go back to my object styles and my concrete board form, and I will go into the appearance, and it's pasting this JPEG all over it. So I want to resize that JPEG, and you can do that by clicking on the image, and it will open up a little image editor, and it's 1'9" tall. That's 1'9", so those are tiny, tiny little boards. I'm going to go ahead and make them 8 feet, and it's going to scale that up. So by scrolling down, you can come in and say, I want this to be 8 feet. And it will scale. So now that's 8 feet. And I'm going to click Done, click OK, click OK, and you'll see now it's a little bigger. And now if I render it, let's go ahead and render that guy. Right, it's still pretty good. I might actually go in and fade it out a little bit more even, just to get it a little bit less in your face. So object styles, imported objects, concrete board form, and then appearance. And I'm going to pull this, let's just pull it down to like 50, right? And we'll hit OK, hit OK, and then let's render that again and see what we get. So you're going to see it's going to fade it out and fade it out. It makes, I just think it looks more applicable and more abstract. I do like the board form on these curved forms because when it's going through the curves, it actually looks quite nice. You can actually get an accentuation of the curves. So it's up to you. But those are my options for that. All right, I'm going to close this. And let's bring that render back out. And let's render that again. Okay, and I'm going to export this to my desktop as import and close this rendering dialog box. And then I'm going to go down to my sheet, my composition sheet, and I'm going to replace this one. So I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and I'm just going to pick that import ping that I just got, and it will place it, and I can then size it. So I could say I want it to be maximum 6 inches wide, or I can say I want it to be a maximum of 4 inches tall, right? And now I've placed an image from outside of Revit on a Revit sheet. All right, that's it. I think that is it. Remember, no brick, no like tiny little scalable stuff, and I will see you on Tuesday.